Drink it in as our Tromsdalen players go up to collect their league title winners' medals. They are going to the top of the podium. Granted, it's our under-19 squad, not our senior team, but these are the players of tomorrow, and they do at least give us hope that there might be better times to come, and we are fairly hopeful because what looked like it was going to be our worst season yet since we joined the Premier Division has undergone a little bit of a resurgence. Would you believe it? We even go into today's final game of the season with the slimmest outside chance of potentially qualifying for Europe. Okay, we've got a lot to get through in this episode. We'll bring you up to date on the form, we'll show you the league table, we'll have a look at the finances, and we'll discuss tactical plans for next season. But let's start here. The head of youth development has sent us through information about our next youth intake, and again, it looks promising. It says there are a healthy number of new fullbacks in the pipeline, and there are a lot of wingers in the system, although if we look down to the bottom, it says few of these wingers are actually going to be any good, but it says at least one of the fullbacks has plenty of promise. We're hoping it's a right back. We don't need any more left backs after 10 years of waiting for one. It says there's an attacking midfielder we should keep a very close eye on, which sounds particularly promising. We've got a forward who could be considered a fine prospect, a young Norwegian attacking midfielder who's caught the eye. This is an excellent group of players coming through. So, in our bid to develop the next generation of Sub-Zero heroes, it looks like we might be getting some more 5-star potential players through. And we are starting to build a squad that looks like it might be in a position to challenge for European football. Okay, that European challenge is probably coming a little bit late this season. You'll see that we are in 7th place in the table. With a game to go, 7th is as low as we could possibly finish. But if we were to win, the 3 teams above us were all to lose and there was a 10-goal swing, well, we might just grab that 4th place in the league that looks like it could qualify for European competition. Let's be honest, that isn't going to happen. Not all 3 teams above us are going to lose, let alone us create a 10-goal swing. But since the last episode, things have at least picked up somewhat. So when we drew 0-0 in the derby, with our new tactical plans in effect, we went into the next 2 games and started to question whether they were really going to work. The game against Molde was not a disaster. In terms of the XG, we weren't overrun in this game, but we didn't look particularly threatening. And in the game against Rosenborg, well, things were a little bit worse in that fixture. They racked up an XG that meant that they probably should have scored more than the 2 goals against us that they did. But we then picked up, we beat Lillestrøm 2-1. We got goals from Runnigan and Herrum before our worst performance of the season. We played Ålesund, who were bottom of the table at the time, and they blitzed us. They went 4 goals into the lead, and they missed a penalty late on as well. Forget our red card, that came very late in the game. All the damage had been done. If you look at the match stats, well, you take that penalty out of proceedings and it was a fairly even game, but they were clinical, we were wasteful, and I started to think maybe this 4-3-3 that we were playing wasn't going to get us the goals that we needed. But then we've gone on a 4-match winning streak. Granted, we've got incredibly lucky in these games. We beat Strømgodset, Jonas Hartvigsson getting us an 88th minute winner. Then we got 2 more 1-0 wins, both of them goals from penalties to get us the victory. Emper got us an early penalty against Start, and then Kim Herrum got us a penalty in the second half to beat Haugesund. And then in our most recent game, we beat bottom of the table Viking 2-1, and maybe we scored a goal that was most in the vein that I'm hoping to try and create with this new tactic. We looked pretty good in this game. We created some nice chances and we had midfielders flooding forward, providing balls to wide players who were able to break through and score for us. And this is the first game we've played in a while where we actually looked pretty convincing. You'll see from the XG, we thoroughly deserved this win, even though they got a goal late on, which was all of our own doing. First of all, we had a mistake from Bratton, and then we had Pedersen just dallying in goal, allowing them to run through, which was a shame because before that we had kept 3 clean sheets in a row, which is not like us. And this new tactical system does seem to be a little bit more solid at the back. We've made a couple of tweaks to it. We're sticking with the false 9, but we have now moved the ball-winning midfielder up to a support duty. We've taken out the deep line playmaker, and we're playing dual box-to-box midfielders now. And we're also asking Grachev over on the left to push on a little bit more. We did tell you that we would show you the finances before we get into any game action today, and they are not looking good, I am afraid. When we finish doing the last round of facilities improvements, we still had a good £2 million in the bank following the sale of Tromsdalen Bratton. We're now down to just over £300,000 in the bank. It shows you how quickly we hemorrhage money in this division when we're only getting gates of just over 1,000. If we're going to do any more improvements to our facilities, we're going to be selling another one of our youngsters in order to fund it. The other area of the club where we have encouraging signs is on the training ground. We've got this little pool of players now who are all regularly hitting 10 out of 10 in their training performance for the week. Asad Jawad leads them this week. He's looking pretty comfortable as a centre-back now. Can also fill in at left-back if we need cover for Yuri Grachev, but he's developing exceptionally well as well. He was a little bit slow when he came through, but his pace has gone up by 2 attribute points. So has his acceleration. He's now looking like a pretty rounded left-back. If we could get a right-back through the next youth intake as good as him, well, we are in business. Skogvang Pedersen is looking like he's developing incredibly well. The teamwork, the work rate, the flair, all look superb for him. Skogdal has also trained really well, but I think the player who's trained the best again this season, after improving by 60 attribute points last season, is Christian Berntsen, and he is now looking like a pretty rounded and accomplished midfielder. It's still the technicals that we're going to do extra work on. Physically, he looks superb. Some of these mentals look incredibly encouraging, and we've now got some players who are training incredibly well. The other thing perhaps to discuss before we get out for today's game is plans for next season. Because we are a little bit fragile at the back, I have managed to extend the loan of Trondagna Bratton for a second season. Milan have sent him back, so we're going to get another year of value out of him. Martin Dusum Dibson is done with us now. He's playing regular first team football over at Vålerenga. So he is now gone unless in the future we are able to purchase him back. And Mats Nasa has now moved from Rosenborg over to play for Hammarby in Sweden. So he is done with us as well. We also need to get your thoughts and your opinions down in the comment section below on our formation and tactic for next season. It's looking a lot more solid, this tactic, although it's not particularly potent when we've been winning games. We've been relying on single goal victories, often from penalties. So let us know down in the comments, where are the gaps? Where are the problems? Where are the errors in this tactic? Because I'm pretty keen going forward to try and play this 3-pronged strike force rather than our 4-4-2. Let us know down in the comments what roles you would change or what players you might bring in that might be able to play this system even better. Today, we've got a game against Sandefjord. They've got nothing to play for, let's be honest. It's going to take a big victory for us to get into the European contention, but why there is a chance, there is at least hope. Okay, we are underway for this final game of the season. Sandefjord are the home team. We're in red today as the away team, and they've got a set-piece highlight pretty early on that they have thumped past our keeper, and forget everything I said about looking tighter at the back. It was still a little bit fragile. from defensive set pieces. Our defence is still our major area of weakness, I think. Apart from Bratton, we don't really have a centre half who is strong, robust, good organiser that can help marshal the defence. To be honest, Bratton is more of a supporting centre half, I think, than the leader you want at the back. We've also got a little gap in midfield for today's game. Kim Heron is out suspended, which means we've brought Heidecker in front of the back four, and we've had to move Ole Christian Jensen into midfield, even though he's better as the holding midfielder, really. We've had a reasonable start to this game. We're a goal down, even though we have got the slightly higher XG, but we've not had a chance to show you yet, and this is why I'm still not completely convinced with all of the roles that we're playing. When it looks good, we play some nice, good, interchangeable football, but we don't create enough chances, and the ones that we do create, we're not clinical enough with. That was a case in point. Good chance for Runnigan to smash the ball home, but they managed to get it clear. Look at those match stats. It's looking all right. 9 shots, 4 on target. 10 shots, 4 on target. But we're going into the half-time break, and we are a goal down. Look at that XG. We should be winning this game, never mind losing it, but it's not to be so far. We're going to give the boys a little bit of a tongue lashing at half-time. Hopefully they can come out and respond. Okay, we are back underway again. We've not made any changes. What we have noticed in the last few fixtures is we have looked a lot better in the second half of games than we have in the first half, and we certainly created more chances in the second half. And there you go, 21 seconds in, we've actually created a good opening, and Runnigan, as that false 9, just pops up around the penalty spot and guides one into the corner of the net. Hartfigson does some good work down the left, gets it to Grachev, who did get a bit further forward that time. Nice little knockback by young Skogdal. And Runnigan does what he couldn't do in the first half and actually places a shot home. So that's looking a little bit more encouraging. We're into the highlights again. They've got a long chase back to pick it up. Hard to tell who this is going to be a highlight for so far. They've got it out to the left. Looks like it might be for them. They've got down the wings. Bratton's going to have to chase to prevent the corner. He has. Well, we've got a lot of work to do to get the ball up their end. Jensen's given the ball away. This is not a player I'm particularly confident in, to be honest. And Pedersen has spilt one, and it's gone out for a corner. Okay, we had a couple of poor performers in midfield. We've taken Heidecker off. We've moved Runnigan back into midfield. And we brought Hugo on, as we've done in a couple of games recently, as the lone front man. I don't know whether he is quite as well suited to that role as Runnigan is, but Runnigan's a bit more versatile, can drop into the midfield, be one of those box-to-box players. And it meant we brought Ole Christian Jensen back in front of the back four. He's got the ball now. This midfield three do create some nice little passing movements between them, and having Emperor up there means that he is good in the box, and Runnigan has sent it forward, and Hartfigson has got on the end of it. And I guess you would say that is quite a well-worked goal. Emperor, far more of an aerial threat, was able to knock one down, and Runnigan showed that he's also got the ability to play that deeper box-to-box role, and he's dinked a nice little ball through. And Hartfigson has done what he's done preciously few times during this season and actually hit the back of the net. I think that might be just his 4th goal of the campaign. But we're at least doing a little bit better now. I think if we could get this highlight out successfully, we might even give them a little praise shout. We're going to take a gamble on this not being a highlight that ends in a goal for them. We've scooped it out to Hartfigson. He is looking a little bit more lively down that wing, and he's managed to get his way into the box. Krachev's backing up. Berntson's there as the other box-to-box player. And we're actually looking pretty controlled. Grachev has got acres of space, and he's got a 6'7" target man he could play the ball to. We're not making a great deal of rush to get the ball into the box. It was a little bit ponderous, really. Although I have dropped the tempo down a little bit for the last couple of games just to try and keep possession of the ball a little bit more. We're now getting towards the very last stages of the game. It's looking like we're in the box seat. I'm going to make another couple of changes just to freshen it up, and then we'll see if we can get a result for the last day of the season. Okay, we've brought 2 fresh wide players on just to try and put their defence to the sword for the last 10 minutes. You'll see that it looks like we're going to be thwarted in our miracle effort to qualify for Europe. We're not doing our part with the 10-goal swing, and Vålerenga are also winning their game, I think, so they're going to finish 3 points ahead of us. But considering how things were looking maybe 10 or 12 games ago, it's certainly not looking like it's been a terrible season after all. 7th, I think, is as low as we're going to finish. We could climb up to 5th today. So I guess, considering how poor we were in that early part of the season, it's not a complete disaster. Skogvang Pedersen has gone close. Looks like if results stay as they are, we're going to finish 6th, which is going to be equal to where we finished last time. And to be honest, I will take that, because earlier on in the season we were looking like we were really going to struggle. I was even thinking it might be a season where we might have a little brush with relegation. Looks like we're going to finish on 47 points. Apart from that early header from the corner, we've actually managed to control Sandefjord pretty well this game, and we might just create one more chance before the referee blows. We've got Jensen. He's got players outright if he can find them. Runnigan has actually looked pretty good as the box-to-box midfielder. Can we get one last chance? Here is Runnigan. And he's won himself a corner, and I think that's going to be the last play of the game. So let us know down in the comments, what do you think we should be doing tactically going into next season? I feel like the 4-4-2 had kind of reached its ceiling. It was a little bit predictable, a little bit stale. You never know. After a break from it, it might be effective again and we could go back to it. But I feel like for the next campaign, we should be trying to play maybe a little bit more of a controlled, expansive way of playing. And I do like the way that this false 9 combines with 2 attacking wide players to create some opportunities for us. But people in the comments have been giving me some great advice so far on what might work well and what might be tactical errors on my part. Feel free to throw me your thoughts down in the comments on today's video, because it all goes into the mixer. So we've had some pretty good performances today. Runnigan has played very well, both as a striker and as a midfielder. The back 4 have not been too bad either. And we've managed to get ourselves another win. I think that makes it 5 on the bounce to end the season with. And it means that we are indeed going to finish 6th in the table. So back-to-back 6th place finishes is not too bad. So this season we got 47 points. And last season we managed to get 47 as well. So technically we've not made any progress, but we have done a little bit of a recovery. But I feel like it's time to kick on. We're going to have a good pre-season, maybe trying to embed this new tactical plan. Hopefully we're going to get a good youth intake as well, and we will be back for the next campaign in our bid to finally qualify this team for Europe and make them Sub-Zero heroes.